Hey guys, it's Jake and Muma here from the Houston Outlaws doing our post-game press conference.
First question. Banny accidentally subbed in on map 1. How did that happen?
I think it was actually Tyrone getting like an autosave or something on his like roster sheet, and like I don't know, he messed up on the autosave or something. So he had like a roster that we were using for map 4 last series on this map. Just unlucky to be honest. But I mean, it really shows. I think it kind of, in a more serious note, it kind of pays off for us that we like sub out and sub in so often in practice. So we're like kind of ready to play different rosters and on a moment's notice. I feel like that's something we've been like kind of doing recently, and it kind of pays dividends in a situation like that where something unexpected happens, but because we're not making this like strong distinction between starters and subs, then someone's ready to come in and like just perform well. And he did a great job. He got some key picks there that helped us win.
Goats is 3 tank, 3 support. Why is it called Goats when you run Sombra?
Everything's called goats, honestly. Like I feel like everyone just calls every comp goats nowadays. It's like you have the Sombra goats, you have
The
Hammer
irony
goats,
is that I think it's like the original team that made it were using Moira, Lucio, Brig as the 3 support, and then once Overwatch League players started playing it, they started using the Zen like almost exclusively to make the comp like have a lot more teeth. So and it wasn't the original team was named Goats. They used like the Moira 3 support, but then the comps that all get called Goats, I think, have the key Zen, Lucio, Brig. Those 3 supports, whether you're playing McCree, whether you're playing Sombra, you're playing Mei, it's like those 3 supports kind of define the nature of the comp. You have 2 defensive support ults with Beat and Trance, and then you have Rally, which is sort of a mix between defensive and aggressive support ult. So I think like it's really those 3 characters that to me define a GOATS composition. Although sometimes you play Ana and you'd still call it GOATS. So I mean, you're getting 5 out of 6. You're gonna call it GOATS, and the easiest way to call it is just say GOATS and then say the one hero that's not exactly what you'd expect in GOATS. So it's just like maybe the fast way to communicate it.
Cool. What are your initial thoughts on Baptiste?
Baptiste?
Baptiste.
I haven't looked into him too much. I think the immortality field seems like a very interesting ability. I think it might be like I imagine a world where it's going to be like really annoying with like snipers, and then the damage amplification ult it seems pretty wicked. It seems like a pretty strong ability.
Yeah, it's really a lot of damage. I mean, it's kind of like a supercharger that's a lot more limited, but does like way more in like the pure deal damage sense. So I think he's going to be a super interesting character. It's like hard to know like where he's going to fit in really. But yeah, snipers. I mean, it seems like the obvious synergy really is Orisa, because just like an Orisa comp that naturally wants to play behind Orisa is going to do really well with the amp field. And I think the most consistent way in the past, if you look back, to predict what a character will do is just think about their ultimate and don't really care about anything else, because the game is like about ultimates at the end of the day. So I think the fact that he has a damage amp ultimate will make him basically an Orisa character only. Like I can't imagine playing the character without an Orisa, just because of like the synergy potential and the way you use grenades and the immortality field. All these things are, in my opinion, playing to Orisa's strengths.
What do you think of the recent patch notes that came out?
Orisa and Junkrat bus. It was not a light.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's lots of different changes. Like, I feel like there's so many different changes that it's going to kind of flip the game around. And, I mean, I like that. I totally like that. I love the patches that change, like, a lot of things, because it feels like you're playing a fresh new game, and I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, exactly. I think Overwatch is the game that it's too hard to balance perfectly, and it's better to just, like, keep the change going, because right when the game changes, like, everyone loves to play ranked. It's like fun because you're experimenting and no one really knows what's optimized yet. But if you give people enough time, they will find a comp that's optimized. It's just the nature of ultimates. Like, it's better to play a comp that you don't have to switch off of than a comp that you have to switch back and forth, lots of heroes, because you get more ultimates if you play that comp. So people are always going to look for a comp that's like really static and you can just force all the time. And eventually they're probably going to find one that's pretty close to that. So it's good to just keep changing the game at a fast pace, and then the real skill is like who can learn the fastest and who can adapt the fastest, which in my opinion is kind of what Overwatch is all about.
Does D.Va have more responsibilities in this meta versus other metas?
I don't know. I mean, D.Va's just like such a high potential character. In this meta, I feel like she has less actually, because most of the time you're only trying to eat Grav.
Yeah, that's why I play her.
But I mean, I think this meta is actually a lot about just damage dealing from D.Va, like which D.Va gets in a better off angle and just like grills the Rhine harder. Just like finding those little moments to deal a bunch of damage on D.Va or to fly through the enemy is really important. But I feel like it's actually probably easier this meta than most metas, because there's so much heals going around, and the struggle on D.Va in the past was always health management in a comp that didn't have as much burst healing. But I think now that you have so much burst healing, it's probably actually easier than playing in like I think Winston Diva is probably a lot harder to play than the GOAT setup, in my opinion. I don't play Diva though, so.
Yeah, that's probably the case.
Why No Mercy along with the Bastion defense on, I'm assuming that's HLC?
Horizon Lunar Colony.
There it is.
I don't know if I want to reveal like all the thoughts behind that, my brainchild Bastion strat, but you know, it's a good strat. It's a good strat.
Okay.
Cool. 2 more questions. Favorite breed of dog?
I had a Basenji mix growing up. Basenji is like this beautiful African dog that's like a little bit orange in the fur, and they're a little small, but the one I had was a little bigger. She was mixed with some other breeds, so I always loved Basenjis after that because they have this great fur. It's just like not too long, not too short, just really nice to pet.
Yeah. I mean, I have a Shiba Inu right now, and he's pretty awesome. He's a cool dog. It's cool that they don't need to be bathed regularly. That's like something that's cool, and he doesn't shed a lot either, which I find really nice. Yeah, I don't know. About favorite dog, I really like big dogs. I like a black lab or something, just like something plain. I really like big dogs, and I think that's probably good.
Cool. Last
Big dogs
question.
own.
Yeah.
Last question.
Raspberry dog.
Who is the best singer on the team?
Clockwork.
Clockwork. Yeah.
He
Does that
actually
count?
can sing.
He
Like,
can.
none of us can sing, but Clock can actually sing.
Don't you hear me before scrimmage?
Dante can sing.
Dante's, probably second place.
He tries.
It goes-
That's what matters.
Yeah, that's what matters.
That's the thought that counts.
That's what singing's all about. Kinda. Sorta.
Thanks for watching our Houston Outlaws press conference. This was Muma, and this was Jake, and yeah, thanks for watching.